Hello, and thanks for joining us for this Anderson Township update, March 2020. We're going to cover a number of different things today, focusing on current planning and development activities, but we'll touch on a few other items as well. First, regards to recent and current township planning efforts. First project we've been working with recently involves the redevelopment of the Anderson Center Station Park and Ride. This is a facility on 5 Mile that opened back in 2006. Township's been working with Hills Properties to redevelop the site into a mixed-use facility that would have up to 200 apartment units, also have a shared parking situation to allow for the park and ride to continue on that site, as well as overflow for Anderson Center. The due diligence period is underway right now. We'll look for some more information on this coming out probably late spring, early summer as it goes through the permitting process, and there'll be public meetings and additional input opportunities as that proceeds. The target right now is for construction that would begin in 2021. Another project stemming from some of the redevelopment and development activity back in 2019 is the Clough Pike Corridor study. As many of you know, there was an extensive survey that was done and a lot of feedback from residents that led to the hiring of Stantec Engineering by Anderson Township, and working with Stantec and the County Engineer's Office. That work is ongoing. It began in late January with signal timing work and study going on in February. We're looking for some suggestions and recommendations from Stantec probably late spring. Look for the May type of public input opportunity, and to see what type of projects might be possible to help with traffic flow safety along the Clough Pike corridor. Another project that we're just kicking off is the Kellogg Avenue Gateway enhancements. This is the focusing on the exit 72 interchange for I-275, which is actually located within the city of Cincinnati. Anderson Township, working with the city staff and the neighborhood of California and other stakeholders in the area, will be kicking off this project here in early March. We're using the firm of MSP Design to assist with this, and this will entail streetscape, gateway, wayfinding, and other improvements to help define this area and make it more of a day-round, year-round type of activity center, but also to assist with traffic flow and safety in this area. This spring, we're also right now in the process of accepting proposals for development of a community art plan. This is an outgrowth of our We Thrive Anderson committee. The goal here is to study potential locations, inventory what locations are out there, and to look at the idea of community art and how we can coordinate and have all this together and use this to help enhance what is so great about Anderson Township. Also stemming from some of the work on Clough Pike last year, we had a lot of concerns raised regarding stormwater, focusing on Clough Creek and that watershed, one of 10 here in Anderson Township. But we've had issues over the years in all of our watersheds. A lot of the township was developed prior to the requirement of detention facilities, which hold water during peak storm events. But we do have about 120 facilities in the community like that, and so the township, working with Hamilton County, has inspected all those. We've developed some educational materials to help inform residents and business owners and homeowners organizations about how to maintain those. And we're now working at possibly retrofitting some of those as well to improve their efficiency and their ability to handle stormwater for more frequent events that we've been seeing. So look for more information on this coming later this year. We're also working in conjunction with the development on Clough Pike with Harmony Senior Living to construct a regional stormwater facility that would actually hold water when the creek rises and then slowly release that back into the creek when the water subsides. So the intent there is to reduce flooding and downstream erosion in that area. It's a new concept, one that we're really excited to see how that works and the possibility for that to be used in other parts of our area. Last summer, the township was engaged with the Anderson Area Chamber of Commerce in development of a business survey. This would also involve work by our Economic Development Committee. We followed up on some work we did last in 2010. We had over 100 businesses participate and gave us a real good sense on issues that are out there, workforce being one of those major issues. And so in response to that, the Forest Hills Foundation for Education, Forest Hills Local School District, the township, and the chamber have been working on a number of fronts, including some of the apprenticeship programs and experience programs that the school district has been launching. We're working with the chamber now on a job fair that will be here in April at Anderson Center, and other ways to assist both those looking for employment and those seeking employees here in our community. The survey also gave us a sense on what businesses' concerns and opinions were on various services, and we were pleased by the responses that we had there and the uptick in many of the performance measures that we use here at the township. But it also gave us a chance to look at red flags or issues that individual businesses mentioned, and we followed up with those businesses accordingly, and our hope is to assist them with their special needs and their opportunities. Late this year, we'll be kicking off the update to the Anderson Township Comprehensive Plan. Plan was first adopted in 2005. It's been updated twice since that point in time, so this will be our third update. We typically do a 3 to 5 year planning update and try to keep that fresh within a 5-year period. So this is the blueprint. This is the chance to kind of set the policy and the goals for our community, by which we then have our work plan each year and have our guidelines set up here in the community. So it's a very important overarching process. Look for more information on this coming out later. And then finally, as we find ourselves in March, we're right on the cusp of Census 2020. By mid-March, most households should receive a postcard in the mail from the Census Bureau inviting them to participate in the census. Again, this is a decennial census. All residents will get the same census form. It's a short form for those that remember when there were 2 different forms. So hopefully it should only take 5 minutes, maybe 10 at the most, for each household to fill out. Huge benefits for doing that for the community, both for accurate data but also representation in our community. And really the survey form is the most effective way to ensure that all residents are counted. Otherwise, Census Bureau employees have to go through the very difficult process of trying to find people and following up. So we really encourage our residents to take part. You can complete the survey by requesting a hard copy in the mail, or you can fill that out for the first time ever online or on the phone. So it's trying to make that process more seamless and easier for the nation. All right, moving on to private development activity. Many of these are things in the community over the last few months as far as completed developments. A lot of activity at the Anderson Town Center and the shops at Anderson Center, highlighted by some of the recent openings in that area. As far as new construction that's underway, a few images of some projects that are coming out of the ground, including the Stonegate Phase 3 apartment units. These are kind of off Nagel Road and Stonegate Drive. The Salem Express drive-through at the corner of Salem and Bernie, the redevelopment of the old Clark station at that location. And then Harmony Senior Living, which probably should break ground here by April or so on Clough Pike, west of Newtown Road along Clough Creek. As far as building modifications and tenants, these are projects that are underway right now. We've got the Kroger addition, which has been in the making for a number of years, but finally moving forward, we're excited to see that come to life. Other smaller but still very significant redevelopment opportunities and new businesses or expanding businesses here in Anderson Township. All right, as far as subdivision development activity, we've got a number of different projects that are going on, led by the fairly visible Clough and Wolfangle development that you see, but also other developments that have been approved in the last couple of years that are either in the building process or still in the development process, ranging from Clough Chase to the Enclave of Woodruff over to development in the Coldstream area to the Reserve of Turpin off of 4 Mile Road. And those newer developments that I mentioned, the Clough Chase and the Reserve of Anderson, you see here one off of 4 Mile Road and one off of Clough at Wolfangle, so 15 lot and 34 lot developments respectively. As far as current zoning reviews, we've got a number of projects. One is a zone change request for a subdivision on Mount Carmel Road at the former Growing Place East Church for a 12 lot subdivision. We have a planned unit development request that's been approved here in February by the Zoning Commission for the former Anderson Office Park. This is for proposal for a medical office building and a daycare facility. And then a residential plan unit development that was approved by the Zoning Commission back at later part of 2019. What was reviewed on appeal was reviewed by the Board of Trustees in February for a 66 lot subdivision on Clough near State Road 32. We're anticipating that actually will be overturned, and so we'll see what the future holds for that property. As far as residential development, this provides some context to it. There's a lot of things going on, and there certainly are impacts of new development, but this gives you a sense on the scale of that. The orange bar on the screen is the number of single-family residential zoning certificates or new homes that are built each year here in Anderson Township, going back to the mid-1960s. You can see huge spikes in the early 70s and again in the late 80s, where we had upwards of 500 units a year being built. But you see that kind of streamlining and then flatlining out there the last 10 or so years. On average, we've been 50 units or less. In fact, in 2019, we actually had 17 new single-family housing starts. That was the lowest figure on this chart. So at least in the last 4 decades, tying the 2009 number of 17. So this doesn't factor in senior living in apartments. It also doesn't factor in the village of Newtown, but it gives you a sense, and the blue lines on here are school enrollment. So it gives you a sense of the comparison and relationship with new housing starts and school district enrollment, and again, both of which have remained fairly constant over the last quarter century. Okay, we're now going to shift gears a little bit to current township capital improvement projects. And you see on the screen here some things that we've been involved with the last couple of years, including downtown Anderson and a fairly aggressive plan to redo all the sidewalks here in Anderson Township. But let's talk about some things that are planned for the coming years. First is Beachmont Avenue restriping. This will be the first time in 15 years that the state has been back to resurface Beachmont. It'll happen from township line to township line, so a little over 3 miles here in the community. When that is done later this summer, and we're anticipating most of the work will be done in the off-peak or overnight hours, the corridor will be restriped per the Beachmont plan that was adopted by the township back in 2018. The notable changes that you'll see, again, there'll still be 5 lanes of traffic in the center turn lane, but the 5-foot shoulder area will be replaced by defined bike lanes, where bicyclists would be protected from motor vehicles. Right now they're currently in a no man's land area. The other part is west of Salem. We'll have some on-street parking in select areas, particularly where we have some residential areas with very small driveways and not a lot of room for off-street parking. So to give an opportunity to reclaim some of the roadway for that use there, and then the installation of Sharrow markings or other bicycle improvements all in there. So in total, about a $3 million improvement that the state's putting forward, and also replacing some curbing and handicap ramps along the corridor as well. But we're excited about the changes for Anderson's Main Street. As far as Anderson Trails improvements, we wrapped up the Markley project last year, and we have a project underway right now to connect Eagles Knoll up to Anderson High School back by the football field area. A couple other smaller projects that we're pursuing right now. The big one that we're working on is the engineering on Pattison Road from Blue Crest down to Beachmont Avenue, but also continue to be involved with some regional connections that will continue to link Anderson up to the greater Cincinnati area. And we're now looking at some new projects that we're looking at for 22 and 2023. So stay tuned for updates on those. As far as curb and sidewalk repairs, Anderson has a 2-year program. We do all our concrete work in 1 year, and we follow it with paving the next. So these are the streets that are on the township's curb replacement list for 2020. We are looking at really all the sidewalks. There are no sidewalks on any of these streets, so we're actually able to get a little more curb work done and hopefully knock out some of these subdivisions so that we can return and hopefully get the rest of the community brought up to snuff in the coming years. These streets then will be paved in the following year. We'll also have pavement maintenance and rejuvenation on a number of other streets here in the township to prolong the life of recently installed asphalt in those areas. And then of course all these streets that we work on, we offer street trees, and we work with residents that way. And our tree committee has been very active. Last year was the largest year we ever had as far as number of tree installations, so we'll continue that again this year. As far as roadway repairs outside of township streets, county of course did some paving work last year on Little Dry Run and some other areas. They're looking this summer at the work on Bridle Road and possibly Broadwell and Mount Carmel roads for 2020. We also work with the county to secure some grant funding from the state. We're looking at redoing Asbury Road at the hill there from Ayers Road down to Kellogg. Some road slippage issues and other things. That probably is more like a 2021 project. Again, Beachmont's plan for this year. And finally, the work on 275 should wrap up with their paving work and bridge painting. And by early fall, we hope the work on 275 that's been underway the last 3 years will be wrapped up. Another project that we're involved with was stemming from the acquisition of the Beach Acres Recplex, or now Anderson Recplex, back in 2019, is the renovation of that facility, working in conjunction with the Anderson Park District and the Forest Hills Local School District, and funding that was be provided by the Anthology Development through the TIF program to invest back into the Beach Acres facility. You see some images of the work ongoing. That's scheduled to be wrapped up by the early part of June. It's on schedule and on budget right now, so we're pleased by that, and really providing that indoor facility space for our community for generations to come. So we're thrilled at that opportunity. We're looking forward to newer and even better things from that site moving forward. As far as township property, our green space program turns 30 years old this year. So we have just under 700 acres. It's one of a kind type of program in the state of Ohio. We continue to work to add properties to that, either through zoning development activities where we set aside open space or donations. There's a little bit of funding left, but not much to compete with the private development market. But as you can see from the map, we have this green space scattered throughout the community, and that's part of the efforts as well to look at visible areas to protect from development. And this was done, if you reflect back on that prior slide, with all the development in the late 80s as a way of mitigating that and managing the growth that was occurring. So very excited, celebrate all the work that's gone into green space over the years, and the legacy that program will leave for generations to come. As far as special events, again, the Anderson Center is the host of many events and rentals over the year between here and the Senior Center and the Heritage Center, all facilities that are operated by the township. We also have a host of community events that are put on by the township, the Park District, the Chamber of Commerce. So very active, particularly as they head into the spring and summer season here in Anderson Township. We encourage folks to visit our website or the Anderson Center event site for information about our facilities or events that are going on here in the community. Again, we thank you for joining us today, but as far as more recent updates or frequent updates, we encourage you to visit our website. Post on that site almost daily information that's relevant to the community on timely topics, and our Facebook page as well at Anderson Township, Ohio, the official township Facebook page. So we encourage you to use those sites for more frequent updates. Of course, Anderson Insights will be out later this month as well. And as always, we welcome your calls, your emails, and your interest in the future and what's going on here in Anderson Township. Again, thanks for joining us.